Hey, what's going on, guys? 3D Icicle Freeze here, and today I'm here to make a very different kind of video. I want to basically talk about what we want for Gen 7 and obviously Pokemon Sun and Moon. So, what we want. By the way, this list is not in any particular order in terms of... They're more like personal favorites, but they can be interchangeable in terms of, you know, number 10 could switch with number 6, and number 4 with number 7, and so on and so forth. So anyway, for number 10 on my list is V-Seeker or re-battling gym leaders. I really think that it's really been very disappointing that they took away the V-Seeker ever since, and I've really struggled to enjoy my Pokemon experience without the V-Seeker. I'm personally someone who actually doesn't mind grinding, but I like doing it, you know, efficiently. So when I have to grind off wild Pokemon in the grass, it becomes very difficult. One example is in Pokemon Soul Silver. I actually made it to Lance with all level 50s, but I actually only grinded in, you know, the wild. I didn't want to grind on the Elite Four, because how stupid does it look if I show up to Lance and I'll be like, Lance, I'll be right back. I just have to go, you know, buy some more Hyper Potions. I'll be right back. Not only does that, like, little thing bother me, but really, you can't rebattle. So, I mean, it's really, you know, inconvenient, and I really think that if they just brought the V-Seeker back, well, then you can, you know, retrain off trainers. You know, this generation doesn't, in terms of players, really doesn't even like to grind. So, but I mean, there is still that generation that does, and I think I can safely say that half of the population that plays Pokemon are veterans, and I'm sure that they're... You know, I can't be the only one who wants the V-Seeker back, or at least rebattling gym leaders. I think in Soul Silver they really did that well, and Heart Gold, of course. And, you know, in X and Y, it was really disappointing to see that the gym leaders were really just a breeze, averaging to only have 2-3 Pokemon. So I would definitely love to see this element come back. Number 9 on my list is less rivals. I think that a lot of people can agree with me on this. Or at least make it very distinct that they're friends over rival. Because something that Pokemon's been doing is you always have a rival. So when Pokemon X and Y came out and we saw that we had, you know, these so-called rivals, it was just a little disappointing to us. I don't want to go too much into this because I know if you're watching this video, you've seen videos similar, and chances are you've heard this one. So I don't want to be kind of like a, you know, metronome and just keep ticking, you know, to the same beat. But I know that should be changed in the next gen. And again, if you do want to add a lot of people who are involved in your story, you know, just make sure you call them friends, because that's really what they're more of. My friends don't choose me, I choose my friends.
For my friends.
So, I don't consider those people... I don't consider a guy with a really crappy Ice-type Pokemon on his shirt who dances a friend. Or a rival, so I don't really know what they were going with that. Anyway, they should definitely make it very clear that they're either friends or rivals. And if, you know, they do let you have friends, make sure there's one distinguishable rival. Because, I mean, Serena wasn't all that tough, to be perfectly honest. Number 8 is Pokemon following behind you. Again, with the metronome thing I had brought up last time, I don't want to say this too much because I know everybody wants this. Everybody wants Pokemon following behind them. The realistic idea is that they're definitely not going to be doing this, especially with the new 3D models. I really doubt that they'd implement it so quickly. I think realistically, though, in another 2 generations, or at the very least another 2 Pokemon games, it could be doable. I don't see it happening for Pokemon Sun and Moon, but that is definitely something we all want. I think we can all agree that in Soul Silver and Heart Gold, and first originating in Pokemon Yellow with Pikachu following you, I think that was definitely one of the most desirable and charming things about Pokemon. And, you know, we would love to see it back, and I really doubt it, but, you know, if someone who knows, you know, the developers of Game Freak or Nintendo, or heck, you're even working for them, you know, you gotta do this soon, or at least, I think a lot of people forget, but in Pokemon Platinum, it was really cool that you were able to go into the park with them, and that would be pretty cool if maybe there was some sort of function for a park, like in Pokemon Platinum, where you could walk around with a select few. Number 7 on my list is more new Pokemon than old Pokemon ratio. A lot of people can agree with this one. When you look at Gen 6, you know, there really weren't even 100 new Pokemon created. And if you're more strict than me, you don't even count Pokemon that are in the same evolution family. So really, if after you do that, there's like 40-something. And then, of course, if you don't count Megas either. Which I think it's kind of hard to count Megas, because it's based off of an older, you know, design. You know, I would love to see them do a bigger new Pokemon to old Pokemon ratio. Instances we have this is in Pokemon Emerald, and then we also have this in Pokemon Black and White. You know, as much as people really dislike Pokemon Black and White, I have to say it did one thing right, and it kept designs very interesting. And it always kept me, my first playthrough, like, wanting to see what else would come up. So, you know, and that is something that Gen 6 and, you know, Gen 4 and Gen 2 could really not supply for me. You know, Gens 1, of course, and Gens 3 and 5 were really able to supply that discovery factor of running into the wild grass to see what new Pokemon I can find. You know, in Pokemon Emerald, they do it too, in fact. There's 202 Pokemon from Gen 3, but overall, there's 386. That means that there's 184 Pokemon that aren't pretty much accessible to you. But that means there's 202 to the 186. So that means still, you have a big majority of, you know, you have 202. That means you have a lot more new Pokemon. And I really like that a lot, and I'm really hoping because, you know, I think a lot of the veterans, and I think even just a lot of people in general can agree that the Megas don't really count as new Pokemon. They're kind of just like new additions. And I think we would love to see more new Pokemon, and I've seen plenty of awesome ideas on the internet, so I can honestly doubt that Pokemon is running out of ideas. Number 6, this one's a little bit debatable, so I'm just going to go very quickly into it, is save files. Like me personally, I would love for there to be save files. I think save files would be really cool. I know Nintendo has said the reason we don't do multiple save files is because we want you to, you know, play the game and experience it, and then if you have somebody else in your family, you know, have them buy the other edition. That's why they make 2 editions and not just one, or they make one after they make the 2, obviously hoping that you'll buy either all 3 or at least 2 of them.
Stupid logo. Yeah, that's better.
To me, that's understandable, so that's why, to me, this one's debatable. Number 5 is definitely a must. The XP share fixed. The XP share is absolutely broken in the new gens compared to the older gens. And actually, I don't even think you have to compare it to the older gens, because I think it's just fair to say it's broken in general. In gens 5 to 1, you know, the XP share, I think, is pretty much... I think it was perfect. I really don't think you had to change it. There was no reason to change it. I don't think anybody was complaining that it was not even, you know, a good item. Heck, I mean, in Pokemon Black and White 2, you can actually receive 2 XP shares. And I mean, you know, what a lot of people do is they keep trading their, you know, specific Pokemon they like, you know, from Gen 1 all the way till, you know, their current Pokemon game. Then heck, if you really want to, couldn't you have like 6, 5, heck, 100, you know, XP shares? Is it really necessary to like have 1 XP share that gives like almost like 70% of the XP gained from the only Pokemon that fought to the whole party? I mean, that's almost a little... That's actually very ridiculous. And now here's the thing, because I know people say, oh, well, you can turn it off. Well, grinding XP isn't the most fun thing either. It was absolutely boring and unbearable without using the XP share, and it was absolutely way too easy for me using the XP share. What you should do is, they give you the XP share, which generally seems to be either after the first gym or before the first gym. So I think we can conclude that we might get the EXP share before the first gym, or at least somewhere soon in the story in Gen 7. Here's my idea. When we get the EXP share, the EXP share goes back to the way it was from, you know, Gens 5 prior. It only affects one other Pokemon, and it gives you 50-50. However, I know a lot of people like myself who they like to train Pokemon they can trade and they can use in the aftergame. So how cool would it be if in the aftergame, maybe some sort of worker, like the Devin Good worker or something, would actually, you know, someone would just operate on your EXP share and say, hey, we actually upgraded the EXP share. They upgrade your EXP share, and then it goes back to the normal system of giving most of the party, you know, a good chunk of the XP, even though they didn't participate in the battle. I really think that this would really balance things and makes things really good, because I know people who like to train Pokemon in the aftergame and get them to either level 50 or 100 for competitive purposes. Well, this is definitely a great, you know, easy, accessible way of doing it. And I think that this would be, you know, this would... And then, of course, you could always turn it on, turn it off, that sort of thing. Grinding in Pokemon X and Y was definitely not fun without, you know, when not using the EXP share. And having it was just a little too overpowered, so I see my idea as definitely something that could work, where you kind of receive this, you know, the bonus, the current one now, in, you know, in the aftergame. I would definitely love to see that. Number 4 on the list is more in-depth aftergame. I think I don't really have to go through this. I think we all saw the lack of aftergame from Pokemon X and Y. I do like how they have the restaurants that you can go to, and I know you could do that during the main story too. But I definitely would love if they brought back the restaurants for an aftergame. I think that you know, I can't tell you how many Pokemon I got to level 100 using the restaurants. I had over 7 million Pokédollars. Pokemon X and Y. I hate to keep referencing Pokemon X and Y, but unfortunately the aftergame just didn't really cut it. I mean, we could look at Pokemon Emerald too, actually. The aftergame in Pokemon Emerald wasn't all that great either. Heck, I mean, even, you know, Pokemon Red and Blue, there's really no aftergame. But I'm just using Pokemon X and Y because it's the most recent. So no reason to bash on Pokemon X and Y. By the way, on my 3DS, it's actually my most played game. So I do like Pokemon X and Y. But yeah, I think that everybody definitely wants a longer aftergame. In Soul Silver, heck, we had basically double the story. Like, it was literally, once you beat Lance for the first time, that was like just part 1 done. Then you have part 2 to do. And I think that a lot of people like that a lot. And I understand that Nintendo's trying to accommodate for the younger generation, that they think that kids want to play games that don't take as long. But you also have to remember that the majority of Pokemon fans are veterans, like myself, and we want to see games that are longer. And actually, if you accommodate for us, you would be programming those kids to want to play games that are longer. Number 3 is possible new type. This I don't want to go into too much because I don't expect it. Possible new type would be sound-based type. A lot of people see this as a type that could possibly be in the future. However, I feel like it would take away from a lot of normal types, and also they just introduced fairy type, so I really couldn't see them doing this. Although I do see it as a possibility in the future, but I really doubt that they would back-to-back do 2 new, you know, Pokemon types, one gen after another. I really don't think that they would do this, but that is definitely something that I hear that a lot of people want and they're speculating about. On to number 2. I think that this is a huge one, and I think a lot of people can agree with this, is difficulty level. It kind of goes hand in hand with number 5, the EXP share. But difficulty level, I think we can all say would definitely be really good. I actually just watched a video, and somebody put it very perfectly, because I actually played Oblivion today. And in fact, I would love if they did a difficulty level, kind of like the an Elder Scrolls like difficulty level. I like that at any moment in the game, you could literally be slashing at someone, and after you slash at them and you realize it doesn't do as much damage as you want it to, you can click start and you can change the difficulty right there. You can literally change it on, like, almost in the heat of combat. And I really like that a lot, and I think that that is something that Pokemon should consider, excuse me, and I think that a lot of people want this, including myself. And finally, number 1, which unfortunately a lot of you will not care about, but I think a lot of you should, because it's something you should consider highly. and that is getting rid of IVs. Personally, I really like EVs a lot. I think EVs are really good. In case you don't know, EVs are effort values and IVs are individual values. So EVs are really good because it's kind of optional. So let's say you face a Charizard, you have a Charizard and you're facing off against another Charizard. You don't know their stats. And it has a Mega Stone, I'm sure you're aware of that. You know, when a Mega evolves, you still don't know the EVs it could potentially have. That trainer could have given it more speed EVs. If it's Mega Charizard Y, it'll probably have more special attack EVs. If it's Mega Charizard X, it'll probably have more attack EVs. But what will it have more of? Will it have more attack? Will it have more speed? You don't know. You know, some people throw curveballs. I've seen people give Wailord better defense EVs. So when you have HP mixed with good defenses and above average, offenses, something like Water Sprout and, Rest, and then you have moves like Hydro Pump and Blizzard. I mean, those moves they just become devastating. And when you're attacking this guy and you're like, why aren't I doing as much damage as I should? You're just like, wow, like this is, and that's just because they changed their their EVs. The reason that we should get rid of IVs is because it really does a lot of injustices. IVs are meant to diversify Pokemon. So like, oh, you can't have, if you catch a Pidgey in the wild, it'll be maybe either stronger or less stronger, weaker than the Pidgey you have. And the thing is, this really hurts competitive play a lot. And I think that this is something that's really, disruptive to competitive play. It's already very difficult to breed a Pokemon you want with high IVs. So, another example. I have a Weavile. Do I want to put all my EVs into its attack? Maybe all of it's into its speed. Maybe I want to cut them in half and put them into both. You have options. With IVs, you have to get the greatest IV possible, which can take a really long time. And on top of that, IVs were meant to diversify Pokemon. In competitive play, you all get the same highest IV, so that really doesn't diversify anything. And on top of that, it makes people actually come away from competitive play, because why do I want to sit and breed different, Sneasel for, 8 hours just to only get one that happens to be the strongest? And I just think that that's absolutely ridiculous. And, there are some people who argue, like, oh, it's not hard. Well, what if you're somebody like me who I like to get, like, I don't want to just use one team. Like, I get bored with Pokemon very quick. Like, I want to use different Pokemon. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this video. I know that there were a lot of points, so I definitely really appreciated that, if you watch the whole video, you listen to everything. Really hope you guys agree with a lot of the points. I know that this is, whenever I talk with my friends and whenever I look on forums, these are always the reoccurring, themes of things that people want. So again, really hope you guys like this. Pretty much until Pokemon Sun and Moon come out, I think I'm going to be doing videos similar to this. But here on the screen, you can click here and you can subscribe to my channel. Again, it means a lot to me. And here is actually the first episode of the current Let's Play I am doing as of this video going up. I know that this video is probably going to attract a lot of new people. So, if you want to jump in, I'm doing a Let's Play of Hyrule Warriors currently. And the game's a lot of fun, really great. I agree, it's not Pokemon related. But hey, it is Nintendo, it's a lot of fun. And, definitely consider checking it out. And I just want to thank you guys again so much for watching. Take care.